Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on The Walking Dead Season 10 Episode 13. As is the norm with all my videos, I won't be holding back on any spoilers, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. And ignore the noise my asshole neighbour is making. Now this is a bit of a weird episode to review because on one hand there were some bits of it that I did like, but on the other I kind of felt very bored throughout most of it and found myself disinterested in the narrative that it was trying to tell. I mean, all I can say is that I'm glad that AMC swapped the position of this episode in the season from 12 to 13, because if this episode aired after the cliffhanger at Hilltop with it being on fire, then I can imagine that a lot of viewers, myself included, would have been pissed off from going to that cliffhanger to an episode where Michonne is on an island taking drugs. And yeah, I have to say that AMC did the right thing in moving the position of this episode, but nonetheless, it still manages to feel like filler, and it kind of slows down the pacing of the season on a whole, and as you can tell, I didn't really like it. It's not all negative though. There are some good points that I want to talk about, such as the moment when Michonne did... No, now I think about it, that was quite dumb. What about when Michonne went to... No, that was also quite stupid. There's got to be something that I liked about this episode. Right, give me a minute, I'm going to think about it and I'll be right back.
2 hours later.
But I mean, I suppose I could say that that was pretty cool, but then that would be a lie because I thought it was really shit. I just can't think of anything positive to say.
What about the crazy drug trip? You told me you loved that, buddy.
Yeah, you know what, Scott, you're right. I did enjoy those moments of the episode.
Haha, yes. Episode. Yes, I was talking about the drug trips from the episode. Not the drug trips that you get when I spike your food. Oh shit, I've said too much.
So just like Rick's final episode, The Walking Dead once again found a way to have deceased characters reappear, and it did this through Michonne's hallucinations, which she had due to Virgil putting drugs in her food because he wanted to make her see heaven, because his name's Virgil, and he's an angel. I mean, let's be honest, the reason behind it isn't all that important because it was just used as an excuse to get old characters on the show again, and whilst I did enjoy a lot of those scenes, it also kind of felt a bit pointless all said and done. And also I kind of think it is a bit cheap that The Walking Dead's best horror moments of late seem to keep coming from hallucinations or visions. I mean, think about Carol's vision when she saw Henry's decapitated head talking to her, or what about when Rosita had the dream of Beta in her house. For me, it's kind of losing the appeal a bit because they just keep having these scary moments be visions or dreams, and it's just like, I mean, there's no denying that the Sadiq scene with Michonne was quite uncomfortable, but again, it's just another vision, and it's been done too many times, to be honest. The main hallucination segment played out like a kind of alternate universe kind of story, a what-if scenario. So what if Michonne had encountered Negan and then went on to join the Saviors, and it kind of harkens back to what I've said many times on this channel, in that the lines between villains and heroes are very blurred on this show. Yes, I know everyone likes to say that the Saviors are evil because they threatened Daryl and who else was it, Sasha and Abraham on the road, and yeah, there's no denying that the group were bastards. They were pushing people around, exploiting people, taking their stuff, but at the same time, as we saw again, Rick did go into a building and slaughter people in their sleep, and of course I don't expect these people were all angels, but again, it's not very heroic to go in and stab people and shoot people whilst they're asleep. That's not really what heroes traditionally do, so I think it's important to be aware of that, and I think we all know that, you know, our characters aren't angels, and some of the stuff they've done is just as bad as Negan, and this kind of re-emphasises that. I did like how these hallucinations mixed old footage in with the new. I mean, going back to what I said a moment ago about Rick slaughtering the people in the Saviour outpost, we see things from Michonne's point of view as a saviour, and she's cowering behind the wall as we see Rick gunning down everyone, and I imagine when we watched the episode we were all cheering for Rick, but seeing it from this point of view and seeing Michonne there cowering, and as this random guy just is coming in and killing everyone, yeah, it does kind of change your perspective on it. I also did like seeing the protagonist on their knees in front of the Saviours again, and then having Negan introduce Michonne as his right-hand woman, because that fitted in really nicely with the old footage, although when Michonne went face-to-face with Rick and she was saying stuff and you could tell that it was old footage of Rick because he wasn't reacting and it just didn't seem natural. That was the only part that kind of stood out to me as, yeah, this looks a bit weird, this looks a bit strange, but apart from that, I thought it was all well done. However, despite how much I might have enjoyed this whole what-if scenario, there were two big negative points that came out of me watching it, and the first one is that seeing the whole Negan lineup again just reminded me of how much Gimple fucked up this moment with his stupid cliffhanger, and just reminded me of how much he fucked up the Negan arc in general, and I wish Angela Kang was showrunner during that arc. It would have been so much better. And the second negative point, which is my main criticism of this episode, is that whilst I understand what this hallucination is trying to say, in that, you know, on another day, any of our heroes could have ended up being the antagonist and being villains, I don't really understand why the show is bringing this up now. I mean, we're 10 seasons into the show, surely we all know this by now? And if you don't, then what have you been watching? I mean, as much as I find Season 8 of The Walking Dead to be average at best, one of the early episodes, The Damned I think it was, had a moment when Rick killed a dad and the baby's there in the crib, and then Rick's looking at a mirror and there's all blood down his face. And, you know, it's not subtle at all, but it's trying to show you that this guy who we all love, Rick, he is a monster just like the Saviours, killing fathers and leaving kids as orphans, basically. And then in the next episode, Morales comes back, and I think he even calls Rick a monster and says that he's done all these horrible things. And we've had this before. We know that the lines are blurred between good and evil on this show. So why are we now having this random sequence of Michonne being a saviour to make that point? Because surely we all know that. I mean, like I said, I did enjoy it. I thought, you know, visually it was very good, and I liked this what-if scenario, but at the same time, what was the point? What was the point at all, if not just to fill airtime? I don't know. I mean, maybe it was put in so that perhaps Michonne could sympathise with Virgil, because we know that it takes one bad day for someone to turn into a lunatic, and that Virgil just had a bad time, which is why he's acting the way he is. But then I don't think Michonne needs a vision to know this, because if I remember correctly, wasn't Michonne one of the people fighting sort of against Daryl and Maggie to have Negan spared and for him not to be killed? So Michonne is forgiving anyway, and Michonne knows about Rick's mercy, and I don't think she needed a vision to sort of get this point back to her. Yeah, I just don't know. And I was going to say that that's all the good things that I liked about the episode, but I realised I've just been mainly quite negative. So let's talk about some more things I didn't like. So, first up, Virgil himself. Yeah, this guy was just damn irritating. He just took forever to do anything. He was too scared of walkers. And to Michonne's credit, she did bring this up in telling him over and over again to hurry up. And that was how I was feeling as a viewer. I didn't care about him putting flowers on his wife's grave. And I mean, of course, it is sad that his family died and he wasn't there, but the problem is, you can't expect me as a viewer to kind of care about this guy and his family when he's only been on the show for 5 minutes. And The Walking Dead has done that a lot. I know many times when one-off characters have come in and they've said some, you know, story about, oh, my dad was eaten by my mum, and my mum ate my baby, or, you know, some shit like that. And they expect us as a viewer to be like Michonne was in this scene and start crying and go, oh, it's so horrible. But we don't know these people. We have no emotional attachment to them. We're 10 seasons in. We know that family members die. And yes, it's sad that this guy's wife and kids died, but I don't give a fucking shit. And I know that's harsh, but I don't care about this guy. I don't care. Why are you showing me this? Anyway, the episode ends with Michonne escaping the cell, forgiving Virgil. She finds some boots on the boat, which I had to Google because apparently they're Rick's cowboy boots, but I always thought he kind of wore like smart-ish shoes. I don't really remember seeing those, but hey ho, there you go. Maybe I'm just not a proper fan, you know. And then Michonne also finds a mobile phone with a picture of Judith and her scratched on the screen, which is from Rick. And I mean, Rick must be quite the artist to do that on the phone, because you only get one chance. If you mess that up, you know, if you get Michonne's nose wrong or something, that's it, you're screwed. You can't just delete it. So I'm surprised at Rick's hidden talent. But it's good for Michonne because she knows that Rick is alive, and I like that Judith didn't cry and beg for her to come back. She just said, yeah, go find my dad, go find him, and that's obviously setting up Michonne to see him in the movies, I guess. But yeah, that's about it really. I know this was a shorter review than normal. I didn't sort of go into a lot of the plot in as much detail as I normally do, but then again, I think that's because none of this plot is really relevant. We're not going to see Virgil again. We probably won't see any of those characters that Michonne met with again, and Michonne's left now anyway, so yeah, felt kind of pointless. As a last episode to Michonne, it disappointed me. I would have hoped that for a final episode we might have learnt a bit more about her, maybe more about her family or something like that, instead of just her having a hallucination of being a saviour. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me, despite the fact that it was quite cool to watch. Yeah, I think this was probably one of the weakest episodes of this season, and I am glad that it looks like this week's episode, because I am filming this a week late, episode 14, this week's episode, will be a lot better, hopefully. So there you go, let me know your thoughts below. Did you dislike this episode as much as I did, or did you in fact like it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed this video. Quick update, because I couldn't film last week because of coronavirus. Of course, I don't know if I had it or not, because we don't get tested in the UK. You only get tested pretty much if you're dying, and even then it's hard to get a test. So, but all I know is that I sort of started with a sore throat, then I was like coughing, and then I had like 2 or 3 days where even getting out of bed I was like out of breath. And I'm not an unfit guy. I can run 5k, I'm quite fit, I've lost loads of weight, so I shouldn't be getting out of breath like walking downstairs to go to the toilet. So that was quite a horrible couple of days, but I got over it quite quickly. I imagine it was coronavirus because I've never felt like breathless before from a cold or a flu or something, so yeah, it was pretty fucking horrible. But I'm hoping that now I've had it and that's it. But you know, of course there are rumours that you can catch it again and stuff, which is quite scary, but I'm hoping that's me done. I'm not going to get it again, but even, you know, we still got to be careful. We're still quarantined and haven't really gone anywhere. I am a key worker. I work in local government, so I'm not getting any time off work. I still have to work, although I do work at home. So, yeah, it's not as if I can just bash out videos constantly, because I do still have work to do, unfortunately. But, yeah, I feel a lot better, and just stay safe. Things are getting pretty bad out there. I know a lot of my viewers are American, and, yeah, I've seen, like, America looks terrible for the amount of cases and stuff you have, so it's crazy. So, yeah, I hope everyone stays safe. Keep indoors. I know it is boring. I'm going out of my mind. It is so fucking boring. Believe me, I hate being stuck indoors. I don't know how. As a teenager, I just used to sit indoors. I know I made a joke about it last video, but I don't know how I just used to sit there and play like video games all day. I'm past that stage now. Like, I think I said in a video before, I'm kind of bored of that, and I've grown out of that. I like being active and stuff. So yeah, it is shit, but it is what it is. We're gonna have to get on with it, and hopefully, you know, in a couple of months or so, things go back to normal-ish, although the government thinks it might be 6 months, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, anyway, just stay safe, everyone. I feel better. Thanks for all the messages that you have left me, which I haven't had a chance to reply to yet, but yeah, I feel fine, and hopefully everyone who watches this doesn't get it, and yeah, just look after yourselves. So I'll see you very soon. I'm going to probably watch the new Walking Dead, well, episode 14, shortly after this video is on my channel, so hopefully that's out kind of middle of the week, and then, yeah, and then again we'll be up to date, and hopefully I'll review the next one on time. So, thanks again for watching, thank you for your patience, I'll stop talking now, goodbye.